Welcome to 3 Ring Kennels. I'm Josh Cochran, and today I'm going to be showing you part 2 of the basic retrieve. Now, Shira here is about 11 and a half weeks old and has been retrieving in the house for several weeks, has been doing excellent, coming right to hand, and really coming along nicely. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how we make the transition to teaching your dog to retrieve outside. Now, before I go too far today, I want to tell you that the first thing I'm going to show you today, I'm pretty sure is going to fail. And I know this because I've been working with Shira and she has been doing this not the way that I thought it was going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my usual method for teaching the dog to retrieve outside, and then I'll show you how to fix it if it doesn't work. So the usual method we use is what you see right here behind me, which is a mowed path. Where you have sort of simulating the walls of the hallway. And what that does is that gives the dog a path to go grab the bumper and then come right back to me. Now, your dog may or may not do this if you're trying to teach them this. And what I'm going to do is I'll show you a couple ways that we can fix it if this doesn't go the way that we thought. So, I'm going to we'll walk down here just a minute and I'll show you how we try to get this thing started. All right. Shira! Shira! Come on! Come on! Right here! Come on! Atta girl! Hey, nope! Come here! So what you saw there is what I thought Shira was going to do. Shira has a tendency to be a little bit more intense at retrieving and really wants to keep this toy. And some dogs are going to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an alternate method. Now, the alternate method is going to totally change the way this retrieve is going to look, but it will help establish a successful pattern of bringing the object to me. Now, what you'll notice I did in that retrieve is I never chased the dog. You never want to chase your dog when they have something in their mouth, because then they're going to think that you're playing a game of chase. Notice that as I moved back away from the dog, she came towards me. So we don't want to move towards the dog, because then the dog will run away, and then you've got yourself a real problem with the dog running away when they're supposed to be running towards you. So let me show you a simple and easy way to fix this if the dog doesn't immediately come back in, even using a nice straight edge like this one. Alright, so an alternate way that you can teach your dog to retrieve outside is, here I'm in a spot where we have moved out, where we're away from everything, and we have a big open area that we mow just for dog training. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a small, simple device called a check cord. Now, what a check cord is you get you one of these little cheap keychain carabiner things. They don't cost 10 cents, and use a very thin, very light rope. This is actually just literally a trot line that I had in my shop, and attach that to the pup's collar. And what this does is this gives you a way to remotely control the dog so that she can't get away. And being a very light, thin rope like this, it makes it so that she won't be bothered by dragging it around. It's not going to hinder her as she runs after the toy. Now, because Shira is really conditioned to like this bumper that I have here, she will certainly run after it, and then when she picks it up, we'll be able to reel her in, which is kind of funny since we're using trot line. But, come here, sweetie. Let's see if we can get this to work. Come on. Notice I'm going to make sure it's untangled so it'll flow easily. And then we just pull her in. Come on. Good girl. Thank you. All right. Shira. She picks it up. We just give her a little tug. Come on, sweetie. Good girl. Come on. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to have to edit that out. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Shira! Hey? Good girl. Yeah, good dog. So, this may take a little bit of work depending on how much energy your dog has. And Shira here is pretty bold. This is about as strong as I've seen with a dog wanting to grab and run off. But that's actually a great trait if you're patient enough to be able to channel that into some good retrieving. Let's watch and see if we can get her to do it again. Shira! Good girl. All right, let's see if we can do this one more time and get it good. Shira. Good girl. Shira, give. Good dog. Good dog. And that's how you can get your dog to come even when they're wanting to run off with the toy. Now, Shira here is definitely a pretty good example of the high end of the energy scale and very intense retrieving ability. And so we got to make sure that we're funneling that into a successful retrieve, and the check cord can certainly help get that going. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on teaching your pup how to retrieve outside. In closing, one of the things I wanted to mention was if you're interested in dog training, it's important to remember that there is no one set path. There is no one step you're going to be able to do to train your dog that every dog is going to fall into every trail the same way. Dogs have their own personalities, their own desires, and Shira here happens to have some traits that are different than the other dogs that I've trained with, so we had to use a different method that you saw today. But what I hope that you never think is that a dog has to be forced into one method of retrieving. So if you are going along in your training and you are stumbling on something that's not working, you know, that's the time when you go and you ask someone who has done this before. Say, hey, you know, I've got my dogs doing this thing, I can't figure out why. You know, have you got any ideas, a tip or a trick of how to fix that? And very often, every time you ask someone to do that, a dog person will always be glad to share some ideas about how to train that might actually really help you out and can get over one of those stumbling blocks. Because you never want to lose your patience or get upset because the dog didn't go the way you thought, but you just need to come up with a new way to teach them so that the dog gets the way that you're learning how to, trying to teach them how to do it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say in there is there was a real temptation when Shira was out in the grass or when she just picked up the toy to use the command come. Now, I did not do that today because Shira does not totally understand the word come. We have only basically introduced that. And that's what we're doing at this age. At 11, 12 weeks old, we are introducing commands, and by no way do we expect to be able to enforce them, especially when we're adding it to a new idea that they're learning as well. We want to change as few things as possible. So, over the next couple weeks, Shira and I will be out here doing some retrieves outdoors, and I bet we'll have this in pretty good shape before too long. Thanks for watching.